Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on where you are. So, this is another day in my life where I practice English. I have already practiced a certain amount of time, but this is something that I just thought of recording. I'm recording just after maybe 12 days, and I have planned to record many other sessions, but I thought I don't know, I forgot to record them. But anyway, so, in particular, a phrase I found when I was practicing in ELSA, which is the main tool that I'm focusing on these couple of weeks. So, I have practicing a lot with ELSA, mostly at least 1 hour a day. I believe like there are many who are practicing more than that based on the leaderboard scores, if you know what I mean. So, let's see, let's explore in particular in a mind map. So what I did first was I'm kind of using a lot of dictionaries to figure out a meaning of the word. I know it's enough to look in one word, but the thing is, I want to make that word stick into me as much as possible. That means I don't. I just want to like make it sure that I will never look that word or phrase again in the dictionary. So to achieve that, what one thing I do is I refer many dictionaries and figure out what it means and try to find a lot of sentence and examples of it and try to make it attached to me in many aspects of my life in many domains that I know. So when I choose in particular, so what I first did was I start looking into what particular means. So this is humongous. Let's zoom out a little. So yeah, so here particular, sorry, it is not particular in particular, it is particular. I think I have used to say it is particular, but it is particular. Particular, yeah, particular. Particular. R is not sounded, it's silent. So particular. So first let's look into the etymology dictionary. So there I consider it as a noun and an adjective, and kind of trying to kind of give separate meanings, but I think adjective is more prominent because in the noun definition it also mentioning that it was an adjectival thing. So here it was more focused about it's a particular part. I think it's related. So it's kind of meaning something, a small portion of something big. So let's read this part. Pertaining to or affiliating a single thing or person, pertaining to some or not at all. Yeah, it was not talking about all, but it was about something small. So from Latin practical, particle, a little part or part of grain or jot. Diminutive of pairs, genitive parts, parts, piece or division, meaning peculiar, singular, standing out from what it is usually or order. So this is kind of an etymological. It was something from a small portion of something big. Okay. So in Longman, in this case, I have referred only Longman because I refer for four dictionaries for in particular as a phrase. So as for particular as a meaning, I only refer Longman. But I looked multiple dictionaries, but I don't want to waste my time too much, kind of writing down all the definitions, because at the end of the day, mind map is a revision tool. Having these particular meanings about it is enough, I believe. Sometimes you may see it is too much, but in this case, I believe like it is enough. So Longman say it's an adjective, particular. So particular is a particular thing or person that one that are talking about, and not another, not another or other, certain or specific. In particular case, in particular case, no one else was involved. In this particular, in this particular case, no one else was involved. So it was in this particular case, not all the other cases. There can be related cases, but this was kind of finger pointing to one particular case. Most students choose on particular area of research. Yeah, there can be like a research area, maybe a broader one. So you focus on one particular aspect of it, a particular type of food. Yeah, you may have preference for a particular type of food. Are you prefer to eat? Do you have any particular preference? Yeah, that sounds good. Second is quite a kind of a synonymous with many other cases like a special or a great. You should pay particular attention to spelling. Yeah, I should pay particular attention to writing a lot. For no particular reason, he quit the job. No particular reason. There were no particular reason for that. Of particular interest, of particular concern, of particular importance. Of particular concern is rising. Yeah, the particular concern is this rising cost of transportation. Yeah, the particular concern of particular importance, and it can be collocate with something in thing like anything, nothing, something, right? Anything particular, nothing particular, something particular, nothing particular. We can say, I had nothing particular planned. Do you have anything particular planned? Something particular, something particular about this is that it is color is red. Something that kind of conspicuous on something, too conspicuous, right? And the third meaning is very careful about choosing exactly what you like or not easily satisfied. Yeah, it's more about kids, I believe. It's called fuzzy eater. He's a fuzzy eater. Toddlers tend to be fuzzy eaters. Particular about. Mary is very particular about this food. Yeah, you want to eat that. So, for example, if you choose a restaurant to go because of a certain food, so that means like that person is very particular about that food to eat there. Okay, that is what particular in general means. I believe like it is enough to grasp in particular much more uh, firmly, I believe. So in the Lexico and Collins, I captured a small definition because if you consider about like how I actually compile this mind map, I started from the Longman dictionary, but I will go other way around because then there's only very minimal information in these branches, so it will be very easy to go through, right? So lexico is it's a phrase. It has only singular definition, like it's called specially. Particular means specially. That's it. Specially used to show that a statement applies to one person or thing more than any other. Yeah. So yeah, let's say take the example. He socialized with other young people, one boy in particular. That may be his best friend, right? I I eat any I like any food except in particular except spicy food in particular. So some segment from a generic. I think I mentioned that before. In the Collins, what it says, you use in particular to indicate that what you are saying applies specially to one thing or person, not for the whole. Yeah. In particular is always kind of picking up a certain part of it as a specialized thing, specialized set, and comment about it. The situation in rural areas, particular, is worrying. Yeah, if you think about, a country may face an issue, but a particular portion of that country has some severe suffering or may have kind of special issues, or may have issues more than any other places, right? The situation in rural areas is particular in particular is worrying, right? And then why should he notice her car in particular? Yeah, there are many cars, but you notice someone else, like for example you are in the road and someone says, look, that beautiful car. Sometimes you may not see it as anything special, but So you may have this question, why should he notice her car in particular? So that means he may have put special attention to her. In particular, I admire his determination. So you admire many other things, aspects of him, but maybe there are aspects that you doesn't admire or you detest, but in particular you admire his determination. So that is what Colin says. So then I think this is the first time I use word hippo, because I heard from one of my teachers. So the word hippo kind of give you synonyms, kind of in a very elaborate way, and antonyms and samples. There were so many, since I use word hippo as my last resort. I only captured what is most important or what has not been captured in any other branches. So here, in particular, when it comes to synonyms, it says it's an adverb, specifically in terms of something or something, something or someone, specifically to something or someone. So synonymous word, like here, take an example. There was one dish, yeah, I think I have added two, was there was one dish in particular that she enjoys at the restaurant, right? So there's a one dish in particular that she enjoyed at the restaurant. So it can be replaced with specially, particularly. There's one dish specially, the one dish. There's one dish in specially that she enjoyed at the restaurant. There's one dish particularly that she enjoyed at the restaurant. So specifically, notably, specially. So this is specializing, not generalizing. So as to give special emphasis, to give a special emphasis on something, particularly, specifically, distinctly, explicitly, specially. And if it is come as a prepositional phrase, including one or more parts of a group, topic, just important. For example, so we are saying that people are happy in general. For example, we can give that. So in particular, in particular, yeah, for example, it kind of synonymous in that place, such as, like, example, included. Prepositional replacement can be like, for instance, such as, namely, but they were not exactly synonymous, but up to certain extent, up to a certain degree, they are synonymous, but not exactly synonymous. So for antonyms, that the opposites, the adverb, yeah, here come generally, in general. So in particular, if you are speaking in particular, you are speaking about one aspect of thing. If you speak in general, you are talking about the kind of a holistically about something. Prepositional phrase. Let's take this example sentences. There are not many cities that I would not recommend visiting, apart from those that may be experiencing a political turmoil. So here, kind of giving a small part of it. Here it uses a part. I think a part is equal apart from, yeah. So here it is not recommending, kind of it is talking about the excluded part, not about in particular part. Apart from, aside from, besides, except, excluding. So here, okay. So when you use these phrases, I mean, you have a kind of a bigger set. When you say in particular, you are selecting a specific subset of it to talk about. Here it was saying that you are selecting a specific subset, but then you are going to talk about the remaining things on the bigger set. That's quite nice. A preposition, beside, I think beside, except. Quite nice words. I think I'm not quite, the beside is not in my functional vocabulary, I believe. I think I should do a mind map on beside some other time. So the next is the prepositions. I have no interest in visiting any city in Canada except for Vancouver. Except for, apart from, aside from, bar, barring. So some sample sentence. I think this was a very nice sample sentence, like judges in general and US judges in particular hate limits on their jurisdiction. So judges have a jurisdiction. They don't have a jurisdiction across anyone or everything. They have a special jurisdiction, and it may be geographical and as well as functional as well. Sometimes a judge on family matters may not be kind of able to provide his judgment on political matters or something related to the country or something related to the war. So the jurisdiction defines what in where that particular judgment or the judgment can be made on. So judges in general hate limits on their jurisdiction, but here kind of adding something else, and US judges in particular. So here it was giving us another subset, but it has the same property, but it says a majority of them in when it considered about US judges is hate limits on their jurisdiction. Oh, that is it's all about. Okay, so that is that branch. Let's collapse it. So finally, the biggest branch, the Longman dictionary. So what I have done was I captured the essence from the Longman dictionary. Then what I do is I try to figure out the biggest collocative phrase that I can come up with the word. So then I can try to remember it. And then because I believe like then it was a kind of a phrase that I remember, and it will be very much easy when I want to apply it again. For example, in the Longman, it says it's exactly say this is specially. In particular means specially. Like for example, it was so I was in this particular area. Let's zoom in. I'm not sure like everything is clear. So it was good concert. I enjoyed the last song in particular. That may be my favorite song. So I enjoyed it a lot. So I enjoyed the last song in particular. I like this book in particular. I like all your books, but this book is special. Yeah, it was kind of meaning a special. A problem in particular. So it was a phrase that I found. And what I do is like I put a problem in particular inside quotes and then search in the news or in the books in Google. So then I'll be able to see that. Let's see that how it is done. Like for example, if I go to the browser, and then what I do is I'll search problem in particular, right? So it's initially search in general, so it mostly tend to give a dictionary meaning. So what I do here is I choose news. So then these are kind of a practical usage of the phrase. So I capture those sentences which I like most, which is more relevant for me. So then my mind map become more richer and more relevant. And next search I do is in the books. So then I may get like more kind of formal sentences where the in particular has been used. So this is one of my tactics on finding samples, which is kind of more useful for me. So the trick here is you need to use double quotes when you are searching in Google, and then use news and books to do your search, because like if you do in other places, it may give you some other media. I think that is not that much relevant. Okay, let's move back to the mind map. So it was a good concept. So we talked about that, the problem in particular. So some sentences I captured is this one. This is a problem in particular faced by users who have wireless or battery operated keyboards. This is a problem faced by users, but here's a problem in particular, right? So it was kind of creating a subset out of a bigger set. This has been a problem in particular with the industrialization of East Asian countries, where economic development led to air pollution and deforestation. This is a problem to many, but in particular with the international industrialization of East Asian countries. Because if we remove this portion, like in particular with the industrialization of East countries, we can say that the problem the problem is, I think we can't you directly remove it, like a problem in East Asian countries where economic development led to air pollution. Yeah. It doesn't have to be industrialization. So in particular with industrialization, I think that's how it goes. And another thing like I found is like when I search here, so it can be leading, it can be kind of comes as the second part of like when a sentence first sentence ending with the problem and the second sentence start with in particular. There were so many cases like that, so I decided to add a subcategory uh, like that and then capture few sentences. For example, let's take them. Research on breastfeeding leads more evidence that negative attitude are still a problem. In particular, people seems to get more upset. This is more about Western and European countries. They don't like to see women breastfeeding their children. So the problem in particular. So you're talking about a problem and you're giving a kind of a particular or specialized case of that problem. Let's see another case. Problem which before we share this development, we should ask whether low fertility rates are a problem. In particular, if you want more upward mobility. So this was taken this fragment is taken from a kind of economy related article, right? Before we share this development, we should ask whether low fertility rates are a problem, in particular if you want more upward mobility. Having an exchange rate that's too high can be a problem. In particular, it makes it cheap to import foreign goods, right? Uh, if the exchange rate is too high, then it's become too cheap to import foreign goods. So here I explain the problem and giving in particular and explain a subset of that problem. That, for example, it's an economic problem, in particular with the export sector. Is a problem about the psychology, in particular about the child development. So you make a general statement and particularly you kind of creating a subset with a kind of more specialized example. Here, this was another nice thing. I think it was also related to that first case, like it in particular kind of used as a connector. So here, compared with, so the sentence goes like this: compared with something, blah blah blah, and then blah, and in particular, and give something, and then currently. So here, take this example. Compared with last year's situation, the thermal power was limited due to coal supply issues. The impact on power consumption this year is relatively mild. In particular, it will affect our nitrogen and phosphate fertilizer production. Currently, the effect is under control. So we here in the currently we say that what the solution is. In particular, we say that what is the exact effect, and compared is like a kind of a historical issue. So then after compared, then the thermal power was limited due to coal power issues. Compared with the last year situation where thermal power was limited due to coal power issues, the impact on power consumption this year is relatively mild. So the issue is about power consumption. So can I use the same kind of a structure in another sentence? Compared to last year, this year, more countries are open for tourists. In particular, Singapore accommodates a lot of tourists compared to other countries. So comparatively, currently there were more than 100,000 people arrived in Singapore during this month. Compared to last year, this year I have studied a lot, in particular in the month of August. Currently, I have studied more than 50 hours in this month. So this kind of nice structure to use, like it was a multi-sentence structure, which use in particular in middle. Another structure is in truth in particular, right? So let's see what it is about. In truth, the annual festival has never recommended from the fashion fox pass of the past decade. In particular, some impetus has proven especially difficult to shake. That the festival goers sauntering across the desert in fox Native American feathers, headdresses, or with forehead adorned with South Asian bindis or something both. So it was more about like the party goers kind of creating troubles for organizers because of their cultural inappropriateness or the blindness about the coldness or the blindness about the cultural issues or not respecting that. So in truth, the annual festival goers never recovered from the fashion fax pass of the past decade. I think I knew that fax pass, but I can't recall what it means. See, that's the kind of a word that has been slipped my mind. So then what's the purpose and the time that I spend on that studying that sentence, the word, if I can't kind of have it on my day-to-day vocabulary? So that's the purpose. Kind of focus on one word and try to make it sink into me. Okay, let's move on. So anything in particular. So that is kind of something that we can use. Anything in particular. Was there anything in particular that you want to talk about? Was there anything in particular that you want to talk about? Was there any in particular that you want to discuss about? Is there anything in particular you want to know? Is there anything particular that you don't know? So that's kind of a nice thing. Anyone in particular? Blame anyone in particular. But so this kind of what I found was this was a kind of a phrase that kind of found in many places. We have always created and dominated matches, but we have not been able to finish them off. It's not to blame anyone in particular, but it is the reality. It was not to blame anyone in particular. I don't want to blame anyone in particular, but I saw someone sitting at the bar drinking all night long. We don't blame anyone in particular, but senior officials in charge for jails in Punjab at top level are involved in corruption. We don't want to blame anyone in particular. I don't want to blame anyone in particular, but someone has to take the responsibility. But there seems to be responsibility lies with everyone. Okay, anything in particular. None of the characters in the book is based on anyone in particular. So this may be a disclaimer on a book or in a movie. Like none of these characters in depicted in the movie is based on anyone in particular, because of avoiding any lawsuits against them. Anywhere in particular. Do you want to look anywhere in particular for inspiration? You can ask from an artist. Last but by no means least, you don't need to move anywhere in particular to find a job opportunity as a nurse. If you have a nurse, there are many job opportunities in anywhere you go. And so much fun to drive on a winding road on a rare occasion when traffic is light and no one is going anywhere in particular. So in the evening, if you go to beach, you can find that no one is going anywhere in particular. They were just roaming around the beach and enjoying the wind, the breeze, and the sunset. Nothing in particular. What did you want? Oh, nothing in particular. Oh, nothing in particular. What did you want? Oh, nothing in particular. Do you have any questions? Oh, nothing in particular. Do you have anything to clarify? Oh, nothing in particular. I will reach back if I have anything more. Choose a specific. Nice. Choose a specific. Nice. If you are targeting anyone, you are targeting no one in particular. I think here there's a spelling mistake. Choose a specific niche. If you are targeting targeting everyone, you are targeting no one in particular. So you have to have a niche. Okay, no one in particular. Okay, it's a very long mind map. So in the revision itself took more than half an hour. So, but anyway, my concern is like I should never look about in particular in the dictionary again, and I should be able to fluently use in my day-to-day work, day-to-day speaking, and day-to-day writing. So that is what, if I can achieve that, that's the greatest achievement I may get. But I believe like you may also may kind of get an idea what in particular means. You can take all these mind maps and everything from my Facebook page. I created a Facebook page called again it is called Journey to C2, where I share different snippets of this mind map. These are all PNG files which were kind of taken out of high resolution. So it's valid, like you can download them and zoom in and read them in a clear text. So I believe like this may be helpful for you, and in future I'll post all my mind maps here, or any kind of notes that I made or any videos I made, I'll post in here. Oh, another thought, I can post the same YouTube video in here as well, so it will be quite nice. Okay, and thank you for joining in, tuning in, and good night, good day, and hope everyone can improve their English as they want.